Hello, and welcome to another Still Drum Smokers barbecue adventure. First up, time to do the shopping. This is my local Sam's in Catonsville, Maryland, just outside of Baltimore. Cue the intro.
Hey yo, this is Dash. Get ready.
All right, thank you again for joining me on another adventure. As you can see, I'm getting the buns that I need. This event was for a family reunion / cookout in the park, and the order was for 144 hot dogs and 160 hamburgers. So I ended up needing 16 packs of buns each for the hot dogs and the hamburgers. As you see now, I'm going to get the hot dogs, and I'm trying to find the hot dogs I'm looking for, but they were out of them. July 4th was the day before this event, so unfortunately I ended up having to get the Sam's brand equivalent of the ballpark beef franks. I needed 6 packs of them, and I was only able to find 5, and then I ended up having to substitute a pack of Nathan's. I found this gentleman, and I'm like, hey man, can you see if you have any more of these? And he looked, and he said, I don't even see any more of them. You must have got the last of them. I said, I sure did. So now I'm off to try to find the hamburgers. I get the hamburgers, and everyone always asks me about the hamburgers and why don't I season them. They are pre-seasoned. The hamburgers are pre-seasoned. Yes, you can add more seasoning, but they don't need much. The charcoal flavor and any condiments you add will help them out. So these ladies, they helped me, and I was thanking them because she overheard me asking the gentleman about the other hot dogs, and she said, oh, there's some more that are mixed in with the other ones. So she helped me out. And then she was like, oh wait, you got a camera on that cart. You putting this on YouTube? And I said, I sure am. So I gave her a couple of my business cards, and I said, hey, look, just check. Here's the information. Check me out, and you'll see me on YouTube, or see this video on YouTube in I said a few weeks, but I'm trying to get it up as fast as possible. So now I'm loading up my car, and you see I have my car, and I'm just putting these buns on the back seat just to try to keep them, nice and neat so they don't get squished. All right, so let's finish getting these buns loaded. 16 packs of buns each, hot dogs and hamburgers. It was a fair amount of buns. My car smelled like a bakery. All right, time to get the boxes of burgers and hot dogs into a cooler. Once I get that loaded up, it's off to the park. See you guys there. All right, welcome to the park where a family rented or got a permit for a pavilion. And this park was in Rosedale, Maryland. So it's about half an hour, 45 minutes away from where I am. And I am unloading my grill. Let's get that off the trailer, kind of pick my spot. I actually beat the organizer there. So I didn't quite know where she wanted me to set up. So I just kind of took liberty and set the grill up where I was. That gentleman there worked in the park. That was, I believe his name was Mr. J. Mr. J told me, he said, hey man, once you finish getting unloaded, you got to move your vehicle. And I'm like, you sure? He said, nah, they don't want anybody keeping their vehicles in the park. So I'm gonna need you to get everything that you need out and then move your vehicle over to the parking lot. I'm like, oh, great. So I had to take everything that I could possibly need out of my car. And now I'm getting the buns out of the car since I can't keep it there. That's my box of tools and supplies. I remembered to bring my gloves this time. If you guys saw that last video I did where I cooked for a graduation / birthday party. I forgot the gloves, and that was something I ended up having to buy on the fly. But all right, let's get this cooler with all of the meats out. And not sure what else I had to get out of the car. Put the straps back in the car, and oh, that was my speaker. And I was talking to the gentleman who worked there, the guy, Mr. J, and he was again telling me I had to move my car. Once I got back from dropping my car up in the parking lot, time to set up the canopy. Now where I was set up, I dropped the table. Where I was set up, I was under that tree, so I was in the shade, but I figured I would set the canopy up just in case the sun kind of peeked its ugly head out while I was cooking. I would have a place to retreat from the sun and get cool when necessary. So I set the table up, or excuse me, set the canopy up. Next up, setting up the grill. All right, so this is one of the folks who was organizing, and I'm talking to her and her kids as they're setting up. So I have trash bag I got from Mr. J. I said, can I get one of these trash bags, please? He said, sure, take as many as you need. So these charcoal bags, in the last video where I did an on-site cook, I said that they were 10-pound bags. They're actually 15-pound bags, and I put 3 15-pound bags, so 45 pounds of charcoal on the grill and got it started. Again, lighter fluid and the weed burner is the best way to get this much charcoal started at one time. I said what I said. I know there are a few folks that disagree, but it's the speed in which I need to get this charcoal started is why I do it the way that I do it. So I get the charcoal started, and then unfortunately I believe I moved my camera and didn't press record. Rookie mistake. But we will pick this up when I remember to check the camera and I get everything else started right back up. So just like I said, you see, I am actually at this point of the cook, I am almost done. It is unfortunate that I totally missed out on an hour and a half of footage of me cooking and flipping burgers and, I don't say fellowshipping, but talking to some of the folks, the organizers that came through, and people coming over to see what it is I had on the grill. They could see the smoke, but they couldn't see what it was I was cooking because of the orientation of the grill. Luckily for me, the smoke was blowing right past me off to my right shoulder, and it was not in my face. This was a rarity, and it was a welcome rarity. More often than not, the smoke ends up blowing right back into my face, just because of how I end up having to have the grill oriented. So this is, honestly enough, that was the last box of burgers, and this is the last pack of hot dogs. Again, at this point, I was finishing up cooking the almost 150 hot dogs, and that was the last box of burgers. So that was the 4th box of burgers, and that is a little over 20, or that's 18 burgers that are on the grill. At this point in the cook, the charcoal has started to die down a little, which meant that things were cooking a little slower, which was a welcome, I won't say change of pace, but it was welcome at the end. At this point, I had probably been cooking for about an hour and a half, 2 hours straight. This gentleman I'm talking to was the father of the guy who originally kind of brought me into this family. I cooked for him. So guy's name is Justin, and this is his father, Mike. So Mike and I were standing there talking for a few moments while I was getting it done, and we were just laughing, chopping it up, and I'm just trying to get it done. So you see me moving around, and I took a picture here. So again, Mr. Mike and I were just chopping it up. So he told me I was doing a fantastic job and keep up with good work and other things like that. And he had food previously at one of his son's parties. And also the reason I started with this family is I did an event for the son Justin a few years ago. And if I can find some footage, I'll put that footage in here.
Flashback.
This is the birthday boy. He's got all white on. And the whole thing was, I knew the sausage were specifically for him, so I went and got him and told him that there was sausage coming off of the grill hot, And that's just one of those little things that you can do to the people who are having these parties. If you remember the little things like that, it goes a long way.
Message!
End of flashback.
All right, back to it. So you saw the footage from the video, and it's funny looking back at the footage from then, seeing some of the familiar faces from that footage that were there at the park this past Saturday. So, like this young lady here, she was the person that contacted me. This is one of Justin's aunts, and there was another one of Justin's aunts that was there. She and I were just talking about me getting a plate, because I'm like, can I get a plate? Can I get shit, boy? She said, boy, if you don't get yourself all this food here. So I did. When I finished eating, this was after I finished, and I got a couple hot dogs, hamburger, and some other things. So at this point, I am trying to consolidate the ash, move it off to my left in order to finish. I had, I believe it was maybe a box of burgers or the last of the burgers and a pack of hot dogs. So yeah, there was 20 burgers left and a pack of hot dogs. I thought that I had cooked all of the hot dogs previously, but this was the end. This was the last of it. And this is the last 20 burgers. So at this point, all I'm doing is just kind of, like I said, I consolidated charcoal, and I know this is the last of it. So we're just getting it taken care of. And those were the hot dogs and hamburgers that were finished from the last round of cooking. And I'm just taking them over to where they had the buffet line set up. So at this point, I'm just trying to keep an eye on things, make sure that nothing gets overdone. I'm moving things around, obviously, because, things are cooking. So we're moving things from the cooler spots to the warm spots and vice versa. Getting those hot dogs spread out and turned. And this was like cruise control coming to the end of the road, because I'm like, I'm almost done. This wasn't a very difficult cook. It was just a lot of food that had to be cooked. And one of the things you see, I sat down. I don't normally sit down, but I've been having issues with my ankle, my heel rather. And after standing for such a long time, my heel was hurting. So, like I said, this is the last of it. And I lost one hot dog to the grill. It rolled down and got into the ash, and I'm like, nope. So there's always one. They call it the devil's cut, if you will. Anyway, I'm just trying to babysit these things, and if you see, I put my hat on because the sun had gone in front of the tree, and I was no longer in the shade at the grill. So I said, all right, time for me to put my hat on to keep the sun out of my eyes. And we're just finishing up, moving these hot dogs into the pan. That's getting ready to get taken over to where the rest of it is. And these are the last of the burgers. So that lady in the floral dress was another one of Justin's aunts who I've cooked for as well. I cooked Thanksgiving and possibly Christmas for her a time or two. So it's always kind of funny to see, some of these folks afterward, or after having done an event for one person in the family, and then another person in the family reaches out, and then another person in the family reaches out. So it's a kind of a testament to, I guess, me. Anyway, like I said, things were winding down. At this point, I'd gone over and I was checking the food, making sure everything was kind of wrapped up the way it needed to be. And I think I see myself talking in the background to one of Justin's other aunts. So just making sure that everything is kind of squared away, so that when I leave out, everything will be set up, and then they can continue on with their party. So at this point, I'm putting gloves on, and I take a full-size pan. And the plan is I organized the hot dogs in the pan a lot neater so that they would be lower into the pan. Kind of when you dump them from the small pan to a full pan, they kind of get a little wonky. So I had organized them in an effort to take them and put them with the rest of the food. So here I am talking to Justin, who is yet again in white. That must be, maybe it's his favorite color or something. But Justin and I were talking, kind of reminiscing. He helped me out with something as far as travel related, and I was kind of giving him some feedback on the information he provided me when I was traveling. So, but there's again one of his other aunts, and we were talking about how when his aunt in the green was talking to me earlier, and she's like, oh well, how did you find out about this, or how are you into the family? And I said, oh, I know Justin. And she said, oh, Justin's my son. And I said, oh, okay, all right, well, so, and I said, okay, well, or she said, Justin's my son-in-law. And I said, okay, well, are you Justin's wife's mom? I said, I thought she was from the islands. She said, oh, you mean that's my nephew, Justin. So, but then, yeah, it was just kind of funny how we figured it out eventually, how I got brought into the fold, if you will. And like I said, Justin and I were just chopping it up. I've known Justin now for, I think 4, maybe 5 years. And I've done Thanksgiving for him. I did a Halloween party for him. And I believe I may have cooked for Christmas for him once or twice as well. But either way, he's like, we're always going to use you. So, don't do this. So I was telling him about how my wife every now and again has the notion to want to go away for Thanksgiving. And how that wouldn't work. So at this point, I'm just trying to get everything cleaned up, and I took the last bit of the burgers over and put them with the rest of the burgers that were already on the buffet line. So you see, I'm getting the charcoal out of the grill, and I'm putting it in that permanent grill there. It's one of the best places for it, but of course, I had way more charcoal than that would fit in that grill, so I eventually end up having to put some at the base. There was already some charcoal there, so I had to put it down at the base. And at this point, I'm just kind of, like I said, trying to get everything cleaned up, because this is all part of, I'm finished cooking. I have a certain amount of time it takes me to set up the grill. I have a certain amount of time that I am, obligated to cook. So I'm cooking. And then I have a certain amount of time that I allot to break the grill down. So getting the charcoal out of it, getting everything kind of cooled off so that I can load it back up onto my trailer. And that's where I'm about to do now. Go get my car, bring the trailer back. So I'm back with the trailer, and I'm starting to try to put things away. So taking all my tools and everything like that back, putting them in the car. Start breaking the canopy down so I can get that taken care of and put away. Get my trash taken care of. So let's move the table out of the way. Get the canopy broken down. And again, you can see I'm in the sun now, whereas before I wasn't in the sun. So pro tip, if you have the ability to pick your canopy up and put it on the table to start getting the wrapper wrapped around it, do that. Save your back. Get that in the car. And the last thing is me going to, obviously there's the propane and the torch, but the last thing is getting the grill up onto the trailer, getting everything secured. Now, I have a little treat for you guys, those of you guys who watched this long. Mr. Mike produced a video, and they gave me the video, or gave me a link to the video. I downloaded it, and it's more or less like a slideshow, but I'm going to include that slideshow after I finish my video. So if you could stick around and check that out, greatly appreciate it. Anyway, so I'm getting the grill loaded, and I'm just about done. All I have to do is strap it down, and I'm on a hill, so it was a little, difficult, but it took some doing. But again, stick around to watch that slideshow from Mr. Mike after my video ends. So thanks again, as always, for watching, and we'll see you next time. Just tying all of the loose ends of the straps down, and I'm about to hit the road. All right, stay with me. That's not going anywhere. Perfect.
More butter, baby.